Hello guys, welcome back to Just&True. I literally just posted a video, but I didn't feel like editing it. I don't edit. I don't feel like redoing it and extending it with this, so I'm just going to make two separate videos. I hope you don't mind. So I just wanted to talk again briefly on the failed, and that's exactly what it was, satellite launch over in California. That was launched with the Navy and also with the State Department. This is confirmed that if you ask anybody who is in the Coast Guard or Navy in the Bay Area at the time of the launch, they'll most likely be able to tell you that it was a launch. So please go out and do your research, and by research I mean ask some active military members. Is exactly what I did in the region. And look into it. I'm going to say that it was definitely a failed satellite launch, but I'm going to get a little deeper into why it was a failed satellite launch and why these failed satellite launches are occurring more and more and more often. It was from what I've gathered, a State Department and Navy satellite that was to be launched, and we did launch it, and it did fail, or it was disabled. Which is a huge possibility and actually the most likely scenario. The reason that they didn't want to say, yeah, we went out with a classified satellite launch and we failed, is because you look stupid, first of all, when that happens, and then second of all, people start asking why, investigations open, and the public would like to know where our money went. Why did you just blow up that rocket? Or if not, how did it get disabled? Was it disabled? And those are questions that could potentially start larger conflicts and could also leak highly classified sensitive information. So if you've been paying attention, which I'm sure anybody who's on this channel has definitely been paying attention to the headlines and to military movement, there's been more failed satellite and missile launches this year than probably there has been since satellites and missile launches have been a thing. So it's 2018, almost 2019. We've got so much technological advances in the past 20 years alone that we have become amazing creatures. The amount of satellites we have launched, the amount of technology that's gone into accurate, just look at high altitude DEW lasers. The amount of just dynamic growth in the military sector, in the defense sector, as far as technology, surpasses every other type of intellectual property, copyright, patent, ever. That's the only growth that's happening as far as intellectual property in America is in the classified Defense Department region. So these satellites and how efficient we are at launching them, we shouldn't have the ratio that we're having failed successes. And the reason I believe is because they are being disabled. They are being disabled. They are being targeted because this is, in my opinion, once again, we are looking at a pre-conflict setup. Where if you looked at my past videos, we have naval movement and boots on the ground troop movement that people are staging in certain areas for a worldwide conflict. That's why right now we're pulling out of Syria, like my last video just said, and why Russia's pulling out of us. Everybody's trying to do everything they can to get their people in place before the poopy hits the fan. So the reason these failed missile launches are occurring is because we have capabilities, this should be common knowledge, to shoot rockets out of the sky, right? That's what we do with THAADs, our ballistic missile defense systems. That's what Russia does with their S-400, 500s, even 600s, I'm assuming by now, which is again ballistic to ballistic anti-air defense, I should say. But we also have, like we've been saying more and more readily, DEW weapons, and DEW weapons are just low-frequency radiation weapons that will kill pretty much anything. The big thing also is cyber attacks. You can also just disable at launch sites now, before they even launch, you can disable these satellites and these rocket boosters and program them to disable at certain times. So it could be an internal thing where people are actually disabling them and setting them to fail internally for another reason or for another country. They could be being disabled from a high altitude DO weapon, and they could be being disabled through remote hacking, even while they're in flight. So all of these things are the most likely thing to happen, and they're happening everywhere. You're seeing the SpaceX fails, you're seeing the Tesla fails, you're seeing the China fails, you're seeing the Norwegian scientist satellite, fails, you're seeing all these failure rocket launches, and the reason is because nobody wants anything going up right now. If you as a nation, as military, can disable and destroy essentially the satellite coverage or the whatever some other country's trying to launch, then you're going to go ahead and do it, especially if it's before a worldwide conflict. So right now we're trying to limit. Everybody's trying to limit troop movement. They're trying to limit troop production. They're trying to limit oil and coal trading, and they're also trying to limit things being launched into space because those could be used as weapons or for imagery purposes. Hello, Jupiter. Hi, how you doing? Sorry, I was about to jump in front of my phone. So yes, long story short, these rockets, so that light that was over California was a failed missile launch. There was multiple flashes, which are multiple stage burners that happened. It wasn't ET, alien, star spaceships, because those things aren't going to have exhaust like that. It was not an alien. It was not an angel, because, not that I don't believe in either of those things, but angels fly straight, so do aliens. And I don't mean to laugh. I do, but I don't. So it was a failed missile launch. The question isn't if it was a failed missile launch, the question is why it failed. Was it an actual accident, which I don't believe. I think the more practical response to this and the most logical explanation is the fact that it was targeted. And the reason I came to that conclusion is because the amount of failed launches that happened in the past year, and also because if you look at a worldwide standpoint, from every other military movement, we are doing checkpoints, checks and balances to try and get, it looks like, prepared for a large conflict. And we're trying to limit troop movement in any other capacity. You're seeing ships block ships in the South China Sea, ships block ships in the Crimean Sea, NATO, Gibraltar, Africa, the Pacific. You're seeing it everywhere. You're seeing massive buildups on the borders with troops. And so, of course, what you're going to see also is you're going to see people impeding on every country's ability to launch satellites and orbital defense systems. And that's exactly what's happening right now, in my opinion. I think that it is just another way to limit our troop movement. So it's most likely Russia or China hacking or disabling it via just low Earth orbit, because those guys have some pretty cool stuff. So yeah, keep your eyes on the prize. Don't get too caught up, regardless of your beliefs, in angels and aliens, because in my opinion, when angels or aliens show up, there's not going to be a debate about it. That's an opinion. Everything else is based in fact. But if you see an angel or an alien, there's not going to be an if, and, or what about it. It's going to be very, very clear, and there's not going to be any conversation. If you have to do an investigation into it, in my opinion, again, it's probably not. It's probably not either of those things. Most of the time when those things show up, there's no question about it. So go out there and keep your eyes up, keep your head on a swivel, but also stay practical, stay logical, because those things just happen more often. All right, ahui ho. Thank you guys for stopping in again, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.